Art Cart in the Park is brought to you by the Coos Art Museum. Don't forget to get your weekly free art kit while supplies last at one of these 3 locations. More information about times and locations are in the video description. Welcome everyone back to Art Cart in the Park, and today we're going to be talking about origami. So for those of you who don't know what origami is, it's an art form that uses folding paper. And that's it. You don't cut the paper, you don't glue the paper, you just fold the paper. Origami can be super simple with just a few folds or really complex with lots of intricate folds and measurements. For our project, we're going to start with one that takes about 4 to 5 folds, and that's it. If you've already picked up your free art kit, then you may have noticed that inside is just a few sheets of square paper. But stay tuned to the end of this video and I'll show you how you can easily make more origami paper from just plain printer paper. The most important thing about your paper is that it needs to be square. For our first fold, we're going to do a diagonal. That means we're going to take one point and fold it up to the other point. Now, here's the trick with origami. You have to be pretty precise. That means you don't want your fold to be crooked or slanted or not even. You'll know you have done this correctly if you have a triangle shape, a shape that has 3 different points. Now I'm going to have you flip this triangle so the flat long end is away from you and the point is pointing towards you. Now we're going to make our second fold. So on the long flat towards the top, we're going to fold down one of the ears, not quite halfway, about 1/4 of the way through the paper. This is going to create one ear of our dog. So that's 2 folds. Let's move on to our third fold, which is just the same as the second fold, only with the other corner. When you finish this, you should have 2 fluffy dog ears. So let's move on to our 4th and 5th fold for the dog's muzzle. For this, I'm going to fold that lower point up just a little bit to create the dog's muzzle. You can also take and tuck in the top of that point so that he has a nice flat nose. When I did this the first time, I had a hard time getting the flaps to stay. If you take and crimp the base together just a little bit, it adds a little tension that will hold everything together nicely. And that is all it takes to make one of these cute origami puppies. The rest is just decorating. So I'm going to draw a couple circles for eyes. I'm going to add in a nose and a mouth. If you've collected some of our previous Art Cart in the Park boxes, then you probably have one of our little packs of crayons. And I'll use those to add a little bit of color. But you, of course, can use markers, color pencils, whatever you have. And voila, our finished origami puppy. So what if you want to make origami but you don't have any square paper? Well, here's a trick. I'm going to use a regular sheet of printer paper, which is not a square shape. So I'm going to fold diagonally on the shorter end up along that line, and I'll have a little bit left over. If I take some scissors and cut that extra flap off, I'll have a square piece of paper. Now, if you don't have scissors, you can take and fold along that edge, and if you're careful, you can usually rip it off fairly smoothly. Printer paper works great for origami because it's nice and thin, but generally can hold up to several folds. Don't be afraid to experiment with origami and see what you can create. Like with this basic project, instead of folding the triangles down, I folded them up. So it made my dog look like it has ears that are sticking up instead of hanging down. I'm excited to see what other kind of animals you can create in paper. So if you'd like to share your artwork with the Coos Art Museum, make sure to tag us in social media by using the hashtag #CamArtAtHome. Art Cart in the Park is brought to you by the Coos Art Museum and in part by a grant from the 3 Rivers Foundation. For more information, contact the Coos Art Museum. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's Art Cart in the Park, and I'm looking forward to sharing more art with you next week. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any future videos. Well, until next time, stay creative!